had one guy at the Hawaii Film Festival say, they don't look that much alike. So maybe we did too good a job of making the same person too distinct from.
Hey, which is exactly what we were aiming for.
Hello, everybody. This is the director's commentary and actor's commentary with Kevin Wu and Liann Kaye. We are really excited to watch the film with you, give you some behind the scenes tips and tidbits and trivia.
All the little fun facts and all that that you guys are very curious to know about. Leanne and I have watched this, I would say, countless amount of times. I can't even count anymore throughout the course of our film festival run. And, every time we watch it, there's just something that we pick up that's funny and that we just find so endearing. I haven't been sick of it yet, which is a really good sign.
I've actually
Um,
watched every take of it in the editing process,
wow,
so maybe like 100
exactly.
times more than all of the film festivals.
Probably over 100 times. Yes,
But
easily.
it's delightful every time. I love seeing it with an audience and hearing the laughter. I love people responding to the jokes. I love people being surprised that both characters are played by Kevin Wu, which we
And my parents
really
too.
weren't expecting people to think that we cast different actors, but
Yeah, they were like, "Oh my God, casting did a great job. They look very alike." And
they're like, did they get identical twins? I almost, before I met you, I thought I might have to find identical twins or
ooh, an
something.
actor that could maybe check off a few of the boxes and
Mhm.
kind of see where we could do our movie magic.
I needed someone that could sing, dance to the level of a K-pop star, which is above, your average bear, or even
Uh-huh.
your fantastic bear, and rap
Thank you.
and act. And I mean, the acting part was the thing that was going to be prioritized, of course, like
Mhm.
in narrative filmmaking, if you don't have a good actor that can't carry the film, you got nothing. So, if
Exactly.
we had to, we would have had to maybe do some like camera tricks around a great actor, average dancer, but we didn't have to
Mhm.
do that here. So,
We- Well, 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 here I am. No, but it was a really huge honor for me as well because this is my first ever on-screen acting role in America. I've
mhm,
done a few productions in Korea and in Japan, but to act in my native language, which is English and also Korean, it
mhm.
was the perfect role for me to start out. And I want to thank you for really giving me a really good guidance and allowing me to put my creative input into creating the roles of DJ and Moon, which is such a thrill. And I can't wait to just watch it with you guys. I know a lot of you guys came to YouTube to watch the short film now that it's out now to the world, but we would love to share our stories as we're watching it and give you some insight on that. So can't wait to dive in.
I've never had more fun than in the rehearsals with you, where we were
Oh
just
my God.
throwing around jokes and brainstorming. So, all right, let's get to it.
We'll have to like show that little clip of us
We will. We will.
rehearsing, yeah.
Everyone's getting all of the content in this
Woohoo.
launch.
We're here for it.
This first shot is a long take down a hallway, and I started out in directing music videos, so I really like single takes without cutting and just letting the actors do this entire walk, kind of like choreography and get the timing right, hit their marks. And how did you feel about this part, Kevin?
Yeah, I remember this was the very first scene that we shot in the sequence of our shooting order.
Hmm.
And we didn't have like a set shooting location.
Hmm.
This was just like the green room hallway
Yeah.
of our studio space.
Yeah, we were so lucky that we rented a sound stage to shoot the film on. This was a different location. It was a hallway, and we were going to have to
Yeah.
find a hallway somewhere. And luckily,
Or
there was
make a hallway.
in the soundstage. So our production designer did a great job of making the hallway look kind of like a K-pop dorm, where a
Hmm.
dormitory where the K-pop idols would live if they were in their first year, probably.
Yes.
So,
Well, as a trainee and the beginning stages after their debut.
right.
So that's why you see like the secret posters on the
Mhm.
walls. I think this first scene is a great introductory to like really captivate the audience because they don't know if there's two characters yet of
Mhm.
DJ and Moon. And then when DJ opens the door, there's like screaming fans. So
Mhm.
this kind of really sets the tone of what is going to come. So.
It's a
This
great
is
way to establish too that DJ is bilingual and speaks Korean, so we really know which one he is. For the non-K-pop fans out there, it's not a glamorous life necessarily in the beginning for idols. So
no.
that is what we're
Yeah, typically you're not living in mansions and
uh-huh.
really luxury apartments. You're kind of stuck in like a very, budget-friendly dormitory with a bunch of different guys, your members.
Even this room is too nice probably for what the
Might
trainees
be too nice.
are living in. In my K-pop research, have seen, the trainees living in dorms that are pretty like sterile and white. And so I told
hmm
our production designer, we need white walls. And she was like, no, it's a film. You
Yeah, yeah,
can't
we
do
don't,
better.
it's a film. We can't have white walls.
And
And
so
we did our
we,
best really decorating the room with like fan gifts, fan
Mhm.
art that's on the wall.
Yeah,
That's why you
thank
see like
you.
dolls.
Kumi Seltzer, who helped
Hey, Seltzer.
generously with our film. So this is the first point where you meet both Moon and DJ. And this is the point where people are kind of wondering, is it the same person? We had one guy at the Hawaii Film Festival say, they don't look that much alike. So maybe we did too good a job of making the same person too distinct from
Hey,
each other.
which is like exactly what we were aiming for.
My husband is from Ohio, so this is why DJ is from Ohio as well. Not a lot of Asians around Canton, Ohio, so that is where I made him from.
And my favorite line is, "You don't know me? I'm an
You
internet
don't know me.
idol, artist, superstar."
This is our first shot with both of them in the frame, and it's also the shot where we have our first movement with the camera, which usually, if you don't have the motion control system that we had, you just have to lock it off in a tripod so that the frames don't get mixed up. But we
hmm
shot this twice, same speed, same movement, and have both Kevins in the frame.
Yeah, it was a robotic camera that shot the same exact movement for each take.
Mhm,
And I think this is where people got thrown off because a lot of the Switch movies that we have seen in the past are more just like still shots in one frame where
mhm.
it's like, okay, the audience, could be like, okay, I could see how they could overlap those. But when there's a movement, that's when people are like, oh, whoa, this is
Yeah.
another level of editing. Props to Liann for doing all the edits herself, frame by frame.
I
And
did. It
that takes,
was a pleasure. Um,
yes, I'm sure anyone who does editing or, in production like that, they know how much effort and hours go into this. But you really did an amazing job.
Thank you. This is a fun Easter egg, but we needed to shoot some paparazzi photos of Kevin as DJ out in the nightclub. And
Mhm.
so you can see my sister and I as the fangirls in reaching
Yeah,
for him, the Asian fangirls. Hitchcock always made a cameo in his films, and thus so shall I.
here we are. Yeah. And not only the scenes, but also your voice. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I'm screaming back there.
Are you okay? Breathe.
Our cinematographer, Jessie Sanchez Strauss, used what she called a lens baby here. Wanted to really portray Moon's anxiety. So, this is a POV shot where she had this kind of like squishy device
Blurry.
on the lens, which really helped with the blurriness, the focus, and giving you that feeling of something is not right. So, this is a
hmm
traditional Switch setup where the camera is on a tripod and you just cut it down the middle and you don't have to do that much with motion.
And what we did here was in the shots of my close-up scenes, we had a double dress exactly like each character on standby. And every time we would flip the camera, we would need an over-the-shoulder shot. So we had multiple actors who participated in the production of this film. We had Tim Hechan Lee, who is also in K-pop, the musical on Broadway.
Every time Kevin had to change characters, not only did he change outfits and put on glasses and that earring you see, but also we put these purple hair clips in his hair,
Hairpiece. Yeah, hairpiece. Yeah.
and we painted his nails. I think this part actually did alert non-K-pop fans to what you
Yeah,
are sacrificing here to.
exactly. It gave a glimpse of, the sacrifice and really the work ethic that idols and K-pop labels put into their work and how strenuous it is for artists who are on tour all the time and just don't have any private life or personal time. So they feel kind of stuck. And this really magnified that lifestyle for any non-K-pop fans in the audience.
Really appreciate you being like vocal with the realities of what it's like. Super worth the like music and reach that you got. But as the theme of this movie is, the grass is always greener. And so I'm very
Exactly.
excited to see these two switch
And
places.
for DJ, this is such a glamorous lifestyle that he thought anyone would want, even for himself. And
Hmm.
I love how DJ is the lens of the audience in America, because
Hmm.
the questions he asks and like the reactions he has towards Moon, and especially in this scene, because he says, girls are always trying to take off my clothes. Everyone's just trying to, follow me and like they never leave me alone. But DJ is like, don't you love that attention? Because that's
Hmm.
what he wanted his whole life.
I love to, even as I'm looking at the still frame, your body language is so distinct as each
Yeah.
character. I really feel that like haughtiness and confidence coming from Moon and that like eager beaver coming from DJ.
Yeah.
Probably Tim's shoulder over the shoulder as well.
Yep. No, and I remember when we were practicing during our rehearsals, specifically set aside time for posture, because we
Mm.
wanted DJ to be more slouched, not really have like a confidence, appearance or like behavior. But with Moon, we wanted to have like such a contrast.
Hmm.
So although yes, Korean men are, aggressive, we turned that
Turn it
notch
up.
up and made it extra cocky. That's like the biggest gap we wanted to implement so that there's that difference in the two characters.
Totally. And I mean, it is very much the persona that K-pop idols put on in performance, which I always
Hmm.
found really interesting. Soul Switch is a lot about the code switching that K-pop idols do between Eastern and Western cultures, where in the interviews they are very like, bowing,
Very
very polite,
polite, yes,
and
very
then
respectful.
they'll get in front of the camera and be like, swag, drip, yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. When I moved to Korea at the age of 15, I very much assimilated to the Korean culture because I was so young. My mind was a sponge, so I absorbed everything. And when I was with my members, when I was with my label, I adapted to those tendencies of more like that bowing culture. On interviews, I had to like be extra mindful of like how I'm speaking. Versus, I wonder sometimes if I never went to Korea and I've always lived in America, would I have had a different posture? Would I have different behavior, even speaking in my own language? Because even in Korea, when I spoke English, I spoke in a more Korean demeanor, you know?
yeah, and I
Um,
think what's so fun about this film is that even though your experience is so specific as a Korean American boy that became a K-pop idol, I
mhm.
think a lot of Asian Americans, or even expanding that to people whose parents were born in another country, have these questions about duality and who could I have been if
Yes.
I was raised in a different place. And I think that's why the Switch premise is such a popular one over time. And I think it's exciting to bring a new, fresh take on it with K-pop being Asian American in 2024 and having two Kevins play against himself. Oh, this is one of my favorite things that happens in the film too.
Oh.
It's so many glow up movies where the nerdy person gets made over. They just take
Mhm.
off the protagonist's glasses and then all of a sudden they're sexy. However, 2025 now, glasses are sexy and they've
Yeah.
become more popular. And I think that it's really fun to have that reversal and also thematically how it's all like within and how you act
Yeah.
like, as opposed to the accessories.
When we have that glow up moment, it's when a male puts on makeup and tries on different types of fashion styles because we didn't really get to see that in previous Switch movies. We've seen more
Mm.
women do a makeover or a glow up
Mhm.
moment, but for men, we haven't really seen that yet.
Yes, as fashion and skincare for men gets more popular, as it should, this is just a
Mhm.
really fun way for us to illustrate that. And I love that they're fake. I love
Yeah,
that
they're fake.
they're accessory.
It always gets a laugh.
This part was really fun in rehearsals. And I feel like even earlier when we were first talking about the script, I asked Kevin, like, what are all of the insults that you got in Korea that were actually compliments? Because the beauty standards for men are so different. And, we've talked about how American men are often revered in the likes of Chris Hemsworth or Brad
Or Zac
Pitt.
Efron, or yes, Brad Pitt, more masculine with
Mhm.
body hair chiseled.
With hot shadows or beards. Pale is kind of an insult in America. I would
Being
say too.
pale, having like a baby face,
Mhm.
having very slim or feminine features is seen in a different light here. Nowadays, it's much different, but
Mhm.
we're talking about when I was growing up,
Mhm.
in middle school, high school, and I didn't really see anything or anything close to my heritage on screen or in the media. So
Mhm.
it really didn't help with boosting my self-esteem and confidence. So
Mhm.
that's why I geared towards K-pop and Korean pop culture because that was something that they praised. Everything that I already have, inherited from my parents. It was a blessing in
Mhm.
Korea and in Asia.
Mhm.
And we did list of things out like V-line chin, my tiny head, which Korean in America, I don't know if you would go up to anyone and say, "Wow, I love your tiny head." Like Americans would think that's an insult, like what? But in Korea, it is something that Koreans strive for, having a small head and like smooth skin. So
Never
we did all
seen
of that in this scene.
never seen a male K-pop idol with facial hair.
Yeah, there were a few in my generation in second gen,
Mhm.
but it wasn't well received. And then after that, it just didn't become the norm.
These are Tim's hands. I can see the nail polish, and it makes me happy that we
Yeah.
were that detail oriented.
Yeah, I mean the beauty standards is like just night and day.
Hmm.
Everything I was insecure about was something that my label just really, really wanted to amplify. And which is crazy now because now that K-pop has found so much success globally and especially in the US, there are so many fans, not only women who love feminine men, but all genders are attracted to like this confidence. I wouldn't say it's like we're stuck in a box. It's just like the confidence that we exude is the sexiness.
It's been so inspiring for me to see because me growing up and seeing Gwen Stefani in front and the Harajuku girls in the background. So
Yeah.
the lead character giving main
Mhm.
character energy, that is something that we're really excited to bring forward into the future. I mean, this is my favorite
My
sequence in
favorite
the film,
scene.
obviously. This is another one where I was like, Kevin, give me like four K-pop poses, and he did.
Yes, I delivered. I
And then
ate.
also, no matter how they're dressed, we know who is who. Even if we dress DJ up in really lavish clothes, you could tell
Yeah,
Kevin's acting, which is so
from
fun.
the energy, from like my body language.
We all know that you are an excellent dancer. Tell us about having to be a bad dancer
Oh
on.
my goodness. That was probably one of the hardest parts of this film. To unlearn how to dance was the thing. Because I've never actually done that before. I've always needed to look good. I've always needed to dance well. So to underperform was something that was not in my muscle memory. We actually asked
Just harder for
some
you.
of our camera crew to stand in the middle while I was Moon and I was dancing all up on them. I wanted to see the reaction.
This is one of our most
Yeah.
complicated shots where Moon is dancing around DJ. And the
Mhm.
way that we did that is that DJ is on a green screen. And we shot the whole take once with just telling him where to look of where Moon is dancing around him. And then we have Moon, Kevin had to go change, and then he became Moon, and then he danced in a circle, and we recorded the same camera movement with our motion controlled robotic rig.
It's
This
just so much even thinking about it.
one
Even this
too.
scene was also a motion camera as well.
This is a play on how I think a lot of American men wash their face and bodies with just a three-in-one product that they don't.
Body hair face wash even sometimes.
And yes, thank you, Clay Cosmetics, for also supporting the film. She gave us a wonderful lineup of skin products that we got to point out.
Yeah, this whole sequence is my favorite. Like
Yeah.
even DJ having the moment of his life, just like
Yeah.
trying to, dress up and become like this K-pop star himself. I could really see him like opening up to this idea, and it's just such a joy to watch these characters develop.
I love your smile. Like you really look like a kid in a candy store being like,
Yeah,
somebody believes in me. It's really adorable.
good correction, man.
And of course, Moon's just like killing it. Those body rolls are intense. Like, they're more
Yeah,
than a regular person could do. Some voguing.
some runway poses. Oh my goodness, we had to bring back the Gangnam Style dance.
This shot was so, so beautiful. And I have to give it up again to our cinematographer, Jesse. I knew it was going to be an overhead, but the way that she had the camera move and come closer, I feel like really gets the emotion of the scene of
Mhm.
characters bonding, especially because Kevin has to bond with himself.
Even the body language here is so different.
Seriously, yeah. With your arm just like over your head, like, stop. This was like our little Wong Kar-wai moment. We just like really love his cinematography, a light on a wall, some pops of color. I feel like the film has like three different lighting moods. Like one of them's the K-drama in the beginning, and then we have the music video, which is that fashion montage, and now we're into my background.
All the rest of the film was just so much fun and like picking jokes. This moment really showed another light to the struggles that I went through. And I remember when I was shooting the scene, everyone was just like very quiet. I don't know if we intended it to be this emotional,
Mm.
but we got to this space and we really liked the direction of the scene. And that's why even the lighting and the darker mood really helped.
I wanted to see how far you wanted to go, like how far
Mhm.
you felt you could go. And I think like at some point I was like, do you think you'd be able to be on the verge of tears? Like could you
Yeah.
show me that or get there? And I think it's perfect. Like I think you're not crying or anything, but like
Not
you're
crying. Yeah, yeah,
close
yeah.
there. And I think that even like looking at your close up, this is why I love film. It's like such a combination of everyone's talents from the production design to the acting and Jesse's cinematography once again of like that light we see in your eye and the way that
Yeah.
you're lit and framed.
Flickering.
It just like really is so beautiful. I'm really
Thank
happy.
you.
It's funny because I also want to say that when I first met you, my impression of your personality from meeting you for the first time was
Mhm.
like closer to DJ. But
Mhm.
I thought it was amazing when you told me that you felt way more comfortable playing Moon as opposed to DJ.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, when we start shooting, which character do you feel more confident in? Which character do you want to work on more? And
Mhm.
I recall saying I feel very confident in Moon because I do have both in me for sure.
Mhm.
Probably I was right off the Broadway show
Mhm.
and I was very much in my K-pop era.
Mhm. Mhm.
Performing every night on Broadway and just like greeting fans every night after the show. I had that switch
Mhm.
on most of the time. So
Really?
it was really easy to tap into that character.
Yeah.
It was refreshing to hear that I resemble more of DJ.
I mean, it is so interesting. I think that's one of the delights of the film and one of like the personal delights for me as a director is to see you switch between the two because that's the whole point, right? Like the whole
Yeah.
point is somebody that contains multitudes and can go from like one end of the spectrum to the other. And on one hand, DJ, I think, is a lot kinder, and I see that kindness in you. I see that Moon is extremely confident, and that's really fun for me to see you snap into when you're performing and,
Yeah.
moving through the world as a businessman and an artist. But Moon, to me, is so hilariously rude and and
Yes, it is.
insulting, and it's like that's also I think something really fun for me to see as an Asian American, seeing an Asian on screen that isn't this stereotype of polite and
Yeah.
someone who is obsessed with himself and cocky
Yep,
and
yep.
I own this room and take up space because so much of the images that we've seen of Asians are being small and making themselves small. And then this was really fun too to just see both of you switch into Korean and then back into English, just to remind everybody they can switch, they can do both.
They can do both, yeah. And this is like over, like, I guess, shadowing what's to happen in the future.
To ground it in reality, we were really thinking about other idols that are native Korean but pretty good at English. And so we
Mhm.
used RM as a reference for BTS,
Yep.
and we kind of also studied what Korean confidence looks like. And I remember you were like looking at Suga too in his documentary of just the
Yeah.
way he holds himself, the way he carries himself.
Yeah, I remember we had different levels,
Mhm.
like from 1 to 5, and then
Yeah.
every time I like said a line, sometimes, yeah, like subconsciously, I would say a word maybe too
Mm.
correctly in
Mhm.
pronunciation, and I
Right.
remember you like, oh, can you dial that back just a little bit? Can we
Mhm.
make that into like a 3? Because we
Mm.
didn't want to go too
Right.
Korean.
Right.
So we had to find that sweet spot, but we kept certain words worked, so certain words were harder for me. So I
Right.
remember you were there to like put me in check. So
Um,
it was a process in finding the right accent too.
the way that Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland, when they speak as themselves, they have the British accent, but they can do an American accent.
Yeah,
Need be. So that is also something that we wanted to do for Moon, where he's made himself, he's going to speak with like a little bit of an accent, but
yeah.
if he's going to be American, he's going to do that. So writing this Korean ballad was also a lot of fun for us. Just the English of called Part of Me is Always Part of You. And then Kevin
Mhm.
took it and then translated it into Korean for us with a lot of intention. And I was really pleased with how much thought you put into making sure that the
Oh,
lyrics were.
even in lyrics, you could really grasp the culture behind it because in American lyrics, we're more direct, straightforward with our feelings and emotions. And in Korean, we usually don't like to say things too directly in songs.
Mm,
Maybe in person, we
mhm,
are direct when we talk to people, but when it comes to music, we do love metaphors and kind of like painting a picture
mhm.
when it comes to writing lyrics. So it wasn't just a translation, it was more of like bringing the essence of the message that we want to portray in the song, but making sure that when a Korean listener is hearing the song, it can resonate to the Korean audience as well.
Which is also really fun for me in audiences where we have Korean speakers. We didn't subtitle it or anything, but only they know what you're saying, which is
Yes.
this really funny love metaphor of a part of me is always a part of you, but also works for the switch concept that we're doing. So
Yeah.
just little fun Easter eggs. This is Chuha, our other actress who was our cab
Mhm.
driver. I
And she is perfectly fluent in English as well, but she also had to do that Korean American accent, and we were both giggling as we were
ah
rehearsing these lines.
See, things I don't even know. Once again, so glad it was such a collaboration. I wanted people to look at the United States passport,
Yes.
but if they didn't, then we had our colorist just really make that purple in his hair pop, which is always really
Hmm.
fun to watch with audiences because then they're like, ooh, it's
They're like,
not.
ooh, that's the moment they're like, ah,
Yeah.
it's not DJ.
Love just how seamlessly and flawlessly that you switch between the characters. This was a fun part too that people kept bringing up to me that they love that you don't shut the door. Like I don't, honestly can't take credit for thinking about that at the time. I think it just like was something that I needed to prove that the cab driver doesn't care. But then it
Hmm.
became more of a character thing of
Makes
like,
sense.
he's a celebrity. He's not going to shut the door for himself.
Yeah, all the doors are always closed for me. So that was also a really good point that the audience caught.
Incredible. And then when the door closes, you don't see the purple anymore, and it's like he's DJing again.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
The happiness in my eyes, I'm just like, freedom. Oh, but yeah, this is also a hilarious scene.
hmm He looks
With
so
all my makeup
the
from the
morning
night
after.
before.
Love this high shot of the whole room, and then
Hmm.
this handheld pushing on that bastard.
Yep.
And then this part was really fun too because we had our other actors and crew members just screaming on the other side of the window.
Yeah, it was a group effort. Everyone pitched in their voices for this
Mhm.
scene. And even like Shar, everyone was like,
Abraham. And then actually Chuha, our cab driver, also does the excellent vocal acting of being the final fangirl.
And this little slight
And then,
smirk.
yeah,
Yeah,
um,
that was a good moment.
yeah, I love this lighting. I love this final beat of your acting where you can see how much it means to you to feel, validated and seen.
Theme, yeah,
Yeah.
validated and trying to contain it. He's not exactly happy, but deep down where it's deeply rooted, he does finally find his confidence in this. So this is like painting another like picture of like, oh, maybe DJ can be a K-pop idol, Maybe he
hmm
can enjoy it.
Especially because Moon just does him dirty and like up and steals his identity, which was happening in the feature for a bit, and then now it is an agreement and much more egalitarian, so we can love both characters
Mhm.
without making them a villain. I really love this coming up at the end because it actually tells people that both characters are you. So
Yep.
really
Both starring
important
both Kevin Wu.
in case they missed that. We want to thank our executive producer, Margaret Cho, for
Yeah.
supporting our project. It means the world to have people like her help
Well,
us get
means
this out into the world.
exactly. She's been such an idol for
Mhm.
me personally too. So legendary, so iconic. People like her understand the
Mhm.
importance of the message you want to relay in this movie. We just couldn't be happier when we heard that Margaret was interested to support our film.
Truly a dream come true, manifesting every day. Things will come, things will come to us, and this is one
They
of the
will.
huge
If
ones.
we claim it, it is
If we claim
ours.
it, it is
Our
ours.
mantra for this movie.
That's our producer,
Woo!
Nicole. Shout out to her for doing all the numbers, making all the logistics. Jesse, I talked
Yes.
about her a lot in this.
Mhm.
Amazing job. Charlene, my sister, scored
Yes.
music and choreography. We didn't give her credit for that. Yeah, so here is the dance sequence in full because once again, just one long take of both of them, whereas in the montage,
Yeah, it was a one take. Yeah, when did you know that you wanted to use this for the ending credit?
oh,
Did
always,
you already have it planned?
always. Just,
Always. Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
I was like, how can we not show such a masterful sequence on all levels, like with the dancing and the dream of doing a Switch movie involving K-pop is, doing a long dance sequence.
Exactly. Even throughout the ending credits, it kept the audience, at the edge of their seat and just really enjoying it till the end. Every festival, we just received so much love. So, to those who are watching who have seen Soul Switch at a film festival, we really appreciate you for showing up and just it meant the world to us. And we're just so happy now that our little baby is out into the world on YouTube for everyone to see and witness and just enjoy.
Thank you so much for following us on our journey. It's not over yet. In fact, this is just the beginning because we're taking all of this momentum and we are going to make a feature film out of this. So
Woo,
please support us, like, comment. All of the
everything.
engagement really helps people know that this is a story that needs to be told. And the feature film is written and ready to go. So we are ready to make this. Kevin's ready. Green
Yes, that is our goal for 2025. The reason why we got selected to many film festivals was because of you guys,
light.
and just tagging, mentioning, and bringing more awareness and engagement to this film. So every tag, every hashtag, every mention helps. So please continue to follow our journey, and we hopefully will make our dreams come true this year.
We will. If we claim it, it is ours.
Yes.
All
All right.
right.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
watching. And Leah, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. I'll
All
see you
right. See ya.
soon.